Alrighty, let's pop out the chat.
Mhm.
Alright, say hi, Ray.
What's up? We're here playing Minecraft.
We're back at it again with the mining and crafting.
Yes.
Alright, so I just went on the expedition of a lifetime to find a cactus, and I found one. But I didn't find it in a desert. I found it in an igloo, which is kind of cool.
It doesn't matter where you found it as long as you
As
found
long as
it.
you get it, yeah. That's the important part. Is I did in fact get a cactus, so I now
Yes.
have my lovely cactus wherever it went. Oh God, where'd it go? Oh, that's right. I planted it. Okay, it's over there. You can kind of see it. Yeah, it's over there. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I'm going to start digging out my super mega, like giant cactus powered bone meal farm. Why? Because I don't know. I thought it'd be a cool idea. So. First thing I gotta do is figure out where I want to put it, and then we got to deal with diggering it out.
Later.
Yeah, so.
So, as for me, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm continuing to expand my iron farm.
Yeah, so Ray is the server owner, so
Yes. What's up?
He's been on here for a little bit longer than we have.
Yeah. To be fair, not by much.
It's
'Cause
only
I just
been like
haven't played-
I don't even think it's been a week.
No, in terms of like playing days, probably like 2 days maybe.
Yeah, but like since you started the server, I think it's been a week since I've been able to join.
Yeah, it's been like a week since I started the server. Yeah, we kind of had a couple of like issues with the server like beforehand, but this one's like we finally got it like working. Partially my fault. I should have been more on top of that, but we made it. We made it.
Yeah, and we're not gonna switch the server for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
At least
gonna
not until
stick around and enjoy this world for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit. This time I'm not like super far ahead of everyone either.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't get like 9 years ahead of everyone. So there's that.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where I want to build this. I obviously I need to build it where I can access it. So I'm thinking, and I want it all to be chunk loaded, or not chunk loaded, within the boundaries of a single chunk. That's what I mean. I think over here.
Oh, I just realized. I have access to snowmen too, so I can make packed ice now. It just takes a while.
What do you mean? I don't know how you make packed ice with snow. Like,
Is it not just Isn't it just like you use like snow to make snow blocks, and then you make snow blocks to make blue ice, and then blue ice to make packed ice?
No, you use ice to make packed ice, and packed ice to make blue ice. So you have to make an ice farm, not a snow farm.
Oh, okay. Oh, whoops. All right, never mind. I have lied.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Fuck. All right. I gotta figure out like how my transportation system's gonna work.
Yeah. All right. So
I'll just use hoppers until I'll use hoppers until I get to that.
Yeah. All right. So I am gonna build
slower,
it in this area. So I think the way that I'm gonna do it is I'm just gonna dig out like I'm gonna give 2 blocks leeway. So we're gonna dig out this entire area. And this is going to be a while. And the other reason we're doing this, chat, by the way, not that anyone's in chat right out already now, but for the one person who's watching the VOD, shout outs to you.
Yes.
For the one person watching the VOD, the reason I'm doing it like this is I also want a lot of blocks and resources that I wouldn't be able to get otherwise. If I was just like going to make it above ground, it would cost resources. Whereas this way, I'm able to get blocks like dirt, stone, a little bit of iron, deep slate, while I'm actually...
Deep slate's such a cool block.
It really is.
I got the sleep this time.
Yeah, I'm able to get more of those blocks while I'm making this farm, as opposed to the other way around.
It's nice like how my iron farm is. Where like I get more iron as I make it to get my hoppers finally.
Yep, I get more blocks to build the farm as I dig out the area for the farm. And I'm gonna do a bit of greening here, which you probably don't know that reference, but
no, I do not.
So he came up with, so Grian's a person on the Hermitcraft server, right? And he
Uh-huh.
came up with this very stupid idea
Uh-huh.
of vertical mining. So it's just mining
Oh,
vertically and
like lining upwards. What?
mining downwards. Yeah. So essentially, what I'm doing, like how I'm gonna be building this farm, is the way that he is doing his strip mining,
Uh-huh.
and it's really dumb. I'm not even gonna lie. It's kind of a dumb idea, but I think it works specifically in this kind of context where you're like, oh yeah, I want a bunch of this resource, uh, and I need an area dug out as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the only context in which that type of system works.
Mm.
All right, so let's make a bunch of shovels. I'm also going to be using stone tools, which means this is going to take a little while because I
Yeah.
don't really feel like making diamond tools or iron tools. I have this like rule in my mind, which I know that you probably don't have the same thing, so you don't
Yeah,
really make
yeah.
iron tools. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, I don't make iron tools.
yeah, if I make an iron tool, the iron tool
Mm-hmm.
has to get me more iron. So it's like I'll make iron pickaxes to go mining, but I won't
Mm-hmm.
make like iron axes or iron shovels if I can help it.
Gotcha, gotcha. That makes sense,
Because like
I
I
guess. Like,
genuinely do feel like they need to increase the durability of iron tools.
yes.
Because iron tools are only 250. If they were 500, they'd be much more usable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it's so stupid. If you look at the durability of the tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wood is like 65, right?
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, which is horrible, but it
But
is
you,
what
you
it is.
never
It's
use
wood.
wooden tools for anything, right?
Yeah,
Wooden
yeah,
tools are
yeah,
are
yeah.
starter tools. Stone tools are 121, which is double 65, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Iron tools are 250, which is a little
Mm-hmm.
bit over double stone.
Mm-hmm.
So you double your tool durability each time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Diamond is 1561, which is,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, 6 times more durable than iron.
Yes.
Which basically comes down to your diamond tools last forever, and your
Mm-hmm.
iron tools never last.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
That's
netherite
essentially
is
how
like
it is.
2,000 something.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing is like if you by the time you have netherite, you also have mending, so it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I feel like if iron tools were 500 durability, you could actually use them. They would actually be a usable tool.
Mm-hmm.
But up until now, they really aren't.
Yeah, yeah. They're kind of mid right now. I agree with that.
Yeah. So unless you have like an iron farm like you have, where you can just
Yeah,
use
yeah.
iron like I'm using stone,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really just not worth it to
To use.
yeah, to use any kind of stone tools or to iron tools.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But I do, by the way, I do believe that if you're just like starting to play Minecraft where like you haven't like it's your first time playing Minecraft. I don't know who's his first time, but like it was my first time playing Minecraft like a while ago, right?
Mhm.
I do believe like if it is your first time, the just don't underestimate the power of an iron farm. Like they're insane.
They really are. It
They're
is kind of bonkers.
yeah, they're just insanely powerful. Cause like as cool as it is to have like all this iron stuff, it isn't really about the iron tools so much as like it give with villagers it gives you access to diamonds and like diamond tools like without mining diamonds. Which means you can now save your diamonds obviously for like netherite stuff, right?
Yeah, like
But
upgrades and everything. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But
So
the other thing is though, netherite tools aside, like it just also means that you don't have to like risk it into like getting diamonds like as early as like pretty much like what you're doing where like you try like when you go caving it's luxury to get diamonds, right?
yeah,
For you it's not real for me it's not really like a luxury so much as like it's like a cool thing that I run past I don't need yet.
yeah. So But we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep or how massive I'm going to build this farm. Obviously, you know, the concept is I want to just, especially once we get the auto crafters, right? Because like
Yeah.
there's so much you can do with auto crafting. Auto
Yeah,
crafting is
auto
such a
crafters are
cool.
really cool. I've already have like thoughts on like what I want to do with them.
Yeah, it's like coming from somebody
I
who
already have
played a
like.
decent amount of modded, like technical Minecraft, right?
Hmm.
Auto crafting is like just such a luxury when you're doing once you're like decently far into the game, right? Where it's just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, I need 1,000 hoppers and I need like
Yeah,
600
yeah.
dispensers. It's like being able to just be like, oh yeah, I can just auto craft those. Like
Yeah, yeah.
spending an hour to set up an auto crafter
Hmm.
is so much better than just spending the time to craft, especially when you're crafting things like dispensers that
Yeah,
take
yeah. Or fireworks.
unstackable items. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just so it's
fireworks is another one. Yeah.
yeah, it's so nice. It's so nice.
Hmm.
So yeah, okay, so almost done here. So I'm digging out the dirt layer first because I want
I
this.
think I think I finally have all the stone I need to build the platform for my iron farm.
That's cool.
Like, luckily I get to use slabs, so like, if like, there's another thing like. Don't sleep on slabs. Slabs are such a good they're actually a pretty good building block.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I also messed this up.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to go to like Walmart or Target. I gotta get another filter for my water pitcher.
Oh,
It's like you can. I'm sure you can drink the tap water in my area. I
yeah,
just have trust
yeah,
issues.
yeah.
But I was
I mean,
looking at
either way,
my
when you travel, you should definitely have it anyway.
yeah. Um, but no, like I was looking at my water filter the other day.
Yeah.
And when I say the other day, I mean like last night or 2 days
Hmm.
ago, maybe now. Yeah. So not yesterday,
Hmm.
not Friday night, but Thursday night. And I was like, ooh, that
Hmm.
looks kind of gross. Let me pull this out, throw
Hmm.
this away, and switch it out. And I didn't have
Hmm.
any spare filters, so
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I might. It's only 5 o'clock here, so I might
Yeah.
do that in
Uh-huh.
a bit. I might
Hmm.
like just run to Target and just be like, oh, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
give me some pictures, man. I need some pictures.
Hmm.
All right, so let's make just a fuck ton of chests.
Hmm.
7 chests. Do I have? Perfect. Okay. So. I don't know if you've run into this yet, but it's one thing that I love it and I hate it. The new oh, if you never played Minecraft before now, you probably wouldn't know this, but you know double chests, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It used to be you couldn't put 2 chests next to each other without them becoming a double
Hmm.
chest, and
Uh-huh.
you couldn't put 3 chests next to each other at all. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you weren't allowed to.
Hmm.
It just simply was not
Oh
possible.
yeah, yeah. I know about that. But that's why like they released like the that trap
The
chest or
trap chest,
whatever,
yeah, the
right?
trap chest was the answer to that.
Yeah.
And like all else being equal, right? Trap chests
Yeah.
are like nice, right? Like
Hmm.
it like the fact that
They're
they added
solid.
the fact that they added the double chest thing, right? Where
Yeah, yeah.
you can put 2 chests next to each other is
Hmm.
nice. But I hate the fact
Yeah.
that chests don't auto connect to each other.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
target a
Kind of,
chest in order
yeah, you
to
have to
place a double
crouch
chest.
and then you have to crouch and hit it. So in Bedrock, if you put two chests next to each other, it actually does
Yeah.
like just merge together. So there are some things that Bedrock does do better than Java, but
Yeah.
like the overall gameplay of Java is definitely better.
Yeah, I had a viewer in my chat earlier who was asking me to play Bedrock with him, and I was like, well, no. But also,
Yeah.
I do know that there are some cool things that Bedrock does that Java doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Bedrock has movable tile entities, which means you can push things
Mhm.
like chests and droppers around, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But it also has like, I mean, since you've played Bedrock, you can confirm or deny. But I just heard like
Uh-huh.
Java is just superior. It's just there are cool features in Bedrock.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty much what it is. So like, um, Bedrock also kind of has this, uh, I don't know if it's a glitch or like or not, but like one of the coolest things that you could do in Bedrock, right, is the way how is the way gold farms can work in Bedrock, right? And I think I showed you this when I went on the Bedrock, like Hatch's Bedrock world,
Hmm.
is the overworld gold farm on Bedrock is just so much like it looks really fucked, but like having that available is just like really cool versus like on um on Java, you can make one. They're really inefficient,
Hmm.
right? For one, the overworld one, and like building in the Nether for like a new person is like kind of scary, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. Wait, did I just get? Wait, did it just say I got the advancements for Sweet Dream again?
Yeah, it said that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it said it twice.
Uh, sleep in a bed to change your respawn point. I didn't see it twice. It only says it once for me. So
Oh,
maybe
what
it's
the
a
fuck?
visual
All right,
glitch.
yeah, it came up again while I. All right, oh, that was weird.
Hello, Lapis.
But
That's weird to see Lapis this high up in the world.
yeah.
53 blocks. It's really high.
Hmm.
So I
But
think,
yeah, anyway,
yeah.
one of the cool features of Bedrock that I wish like was in Java is I actually like the way Bedrock I think the Bedrock version of the Iron Farm like it just feels a bit more superior because so in Java it's based on the number of beds instead of like having just like three villagers be scared to spawn one iron
Oh
golem,
yeah.
right?
So it works
Yeah.
how the OG well, not the OG, the believe it or not, the OG iron farms used to go off the number of
Uh-huh.
doors.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. So it's kind of like that, but the thing is like with that because like beds are also like blocks that don't like you can't spawn anything on
Hmm.
basically, right? It makes it a lot easier to like also use beds instead of having to like get shears to make to get like leaves or something like that, you know? So I do think
Interesting.
like they're a bit easier to make. With that said, though, there's a lot more like you could do with Java Iron Farms. I think
Uh,
Bedrock is easier for beginners, actually, if I'd have to say.
yeah. Also, I am mad now.
Uh-huh.
It looks like the area I have chosen for my iron or for my cactus farm
Uh-huh.
includes a flooded cave system.
Oh, that's actually really unfortunate.
Yeah, now it does look like it's only maybe a dozen blocks of water. Oh shit, I'm gonna drown. It
Hmm.
does look like it's only maybe like 10 blocks of water, but that's
Hmm.
just that's just annoying. That just really
Yeah.
is like very very annoying.
Hmm.
So I think the best way to do this is I actually don't know how the what the best way to do this would be.
You
Because
could find you could you could find like ocean temple and get some sponges.
yeah, like that's an option. It's
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's not a good option.
It's not because you know you really don't want like that's not really what you want to be exploring right now.
Yeah, it's not super realistic. Also, I just realized I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this hole.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is a great question.
So I know how to get out of this hole. It's called
Hmm.
digging upwards. It's just annoying.
Yeah. All right. All right. My iron farm should be good with that. I just gotta put the beds in, and then.
So I don't like doing this. Like I don't like this train of thought, right? But I feel
Hmm.
like the easiest way to do this is going to be something stupid like what you call it. It's going to be something stupid like oh just like fill it in with dirt and then dig the dirt away to
Oh,
get
that shouldn't take forever.
it. Yeah, I will.
But that is an option. That is the
I,
other,
I
what
think
I
that's
call the
the only
other,
real option other than finding an
the yeah,
ocean monument.
what I call the makeshift is that the makeshift sponge?
Yeah, it's probably going to be the dirt sponge. I think that's our
Yeah,
best option.
yeah, makes sense, makes sense. So, um,
All right, so I think the way that we're gonna do this is we're gonna dig down to the like water level that we found, and then we're gonna dig down to the. We're gonna fill that in, and then we're gonna dig down even more.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be an involved project.
Yeah.
I mean, it was never gonna be like, you know, oh, this is gonna take 10 minutes. No, this is going to be a
Yeah,
rather
it was
big
never
project.
it was never gonna take 10 minutes. Like, let's be honest.
But it's just it could have been much easier than it currently is being.
Yeah. All right, I'm to put down some carpet.
I think I'm gonna go get up and get some water really quickly. My throat's a little parched.
All right,
Considering I've been
gotcha.
talking for like 12 hours today.
Yeah.
It's not that long, but it's long enough.
It'd be like that sometimes.
The life of the tuber.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
the
don't
life
even
he
really
shows.
consider myself a YouTuber.
Mm. You're getting up there, you know.
Yeah, I'm getting there, but it's like it's
Yeah.
taken its sweet
It's
time.
taking a minute. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's an unfortunate circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think let's dump off all these stones and materials. Let's do this. I also need my bucket. I do have a bucket. We can turn this off now as well.
Yeah. All right.
I had the chalk view, so. Alright, and while my character goes and gets water, I am also going to go get water, because I need some throat lubrication. Alright, I'll be right back.
All right.
Alrighty, I'm back.
All All right.
And I got enough water for a trip through Arrakis.
Nice.
Ugh. Okay. Let's see. How am I going to go about doing this? Yeah, alright, that's right. I'm going to do this in kind of a weird way because I think I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I can do this. Let me make a couple more pickaxes. Also, okay, so you want to know something stupid?
Yeah, sure.
And it's like stupid in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like this would be like a nice like little hidden feature, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about tool durability earlier, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A stack of blocks in Minecraft is
Mm-hmm.
64,
Yes.
but a wooden pickaxe is 65, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
if you were digging out a big stone area like I might be doing right now, right? It would
Mm-hmm.
be like really convenient if when you mined a stack of blocks, you like that pickaxe broke and you then had another slot in your inventory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Oh,
then
I know where this goes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like the fact that it's 65 instead of 64 is just like really annoying. And
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
know that you know, there's a lot more stone types in the game now. There's a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
other blocks that just take up spots. But it didn't used to
Mm-hmm.
be that way. It genuinely
Mm-hmm.
didn't. There was a time where there wasn't other types of stone.
Mm-hmm.
There was just stone.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's now there's like these there's just other types of stone, and it just fills up your inventory. It just becomes like there's so many things for your inventory to have. It can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
kind of frustrating.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I felt no, I felt that. I felt that.
It's like I know it's one of those things that like everyone who's ever played Minecraft has complained about at some point. Is like
Mm-hmm.
there's too many
But
blocks.
it's a valid complaint.
It really is. Like there are so many blocks in this game. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it's like there's no additional inventory space,
Mm-hmm.
and like your inventory fills up so quickly. I mean that's half the reason you need inventory mods in
Mm-hmm.
modern Minecraft is because like you're adding so
Yeah.
many more block types to the game. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, one of those things that would be nice if existed.
But unfortunately, it does not.
It does not, and it's lame because of it.
Yep. Sometimes it actually do just be like that.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe eventually.
Yeah. They should definitely change that up, though. I do agree.
I mean, that was one of the reasons I was super excited for bundles, but then
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I don't think they canceled bundles. Like, I don't think bundles
Mm-hmm.
are like not happening anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where it's like I was super excited for bundles because it's like, oh, if like you want to go like flower picking, and like you need a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of different flowers for dyes, it only takes up one inventory spot.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing
yeah.
if you were like picking up leaves for bushes and terraforming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, maybe I think bundles are coming out now, but I don't know. I heard they scrapped the idea of bundles because like people weren't super into it. But I mean,
Uh, mm,
because if I
I
remember
don't know
how,
if I don't know if I like them like scrapping it though.
yeah, I mean, like if I remember correctly, right, which I might not be,
Yeah.
I might not be,
Uh-huh.
but if I'm remembering correctly, I think bundles were 16 items, but it was
Mm-hmm.
any
Yeah,
item
yeah.
fit into a bundle, and it was 16 items into a
Mm-hmm.
bundle. So it's like
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
go pick up 16 individual flowers,
Yeah, yeah.
and they would take up the same amount of item space as 16 flowers of the same type.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like I think all they had to do was increase that number. If it was
Mm-hmm.
64, that would have been like perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like it's like a trade-off, right? Of like,
Yeah,
oh, you
yeah.
can have 64 items in this one slot, but then they're all
Mhm.
jumbled up together. Like you're not
Mhm.
having, like it's not organized.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. Bundles were it was a very cool concept that I was interested in, and I was
Mhm.
very sad when they supposedly scrapped it. I don't know if it's still scrapped or if it's just like I'm remembering it wrong. But I
Mhm.
remember them. I feel like I remember hearing that bundles were scrapped, and I was very unhappy.
Mhm. I hope not. Like,
So, but yeah. Anyways,
how do you feel about like the potential librarian change?
I think it's stupid because it basically means that you now
Mhm.
have if I forget how you get mending, right? But the
Yeah,
big thing
yeah.
with like villager librarians was
Like
mending.
swamp. Yeah, yeah. Swamp
It's a
villagers, you
swamp.
get them.
So you literally have to find a
Yeah.
villager and drag it over to the swamp. But then you
Yeah, yeah.
guarantee mending. So it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
trade off of like, oh, you no longer have to re-roll for it,
Mhm.
but now you
Oh,
can't have
actually,
all your
no, no,
villagers
no.
in one place.
So, yeah, so the thing is, and this is why I think it's like kind of bad, right?
Hmm.
Um, so, how do I put it? Like, you can have all your, so the way it works is like you can have all your villagers in one place, right? The
Okay.
thing is like the way you get swamp villagers isn't that you drag a villager to a swamp. The way you get it is so, and this is the shitty part, right? Is you have to go to you have to go to a swamp to find the villager.
Oh,
So
God. That's
yeah,
even worse.
yeah, yeah. So that's why like I'm kind of against it. Cause like I get you're trying to make them people explore more biomes, but I don't think that's like enticing with
That
mending
ain't
is
it,
the
Chief.
way.
That just
Yeah.
ain't it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that if that's the way it is, that's incredibly stupid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's my problem with it, right?
Yeah. No, I genuinely did think it was like a like
Oh, like it
if you
had to be in the swamp to get mending and stuff like that.
yeah,
No.
so like if you like minecarted a villager over to a swamp
Yeah.
biome, and then
Yeah.
you
Hmm. Yeah.
like
So
set up a station, it
and
would become a swamp
yeah,
villager.
and this is the other shitty part is swamp villagers don't actually exist in the game,
Yeah.
right? So the way how you actually have to get mending now is you get the villager, right? You get two villagers, you have to transport them both to a swamp
And
and
you
you
have to
have to
breed them.
breed them, and then there's a 50% chance that it is either parent, and then there's a oh no no it's I think it's like whatever the villager type is that you've bred. And so it could be 25% whatever the first villager is, 25% what the second villager is, and 50% what the biome is, I think is the percentage. Right? Don't
Hmm.
quote me on that, but basically like you have to breed them and like roll like the dice on it, and then on top of that transfer it back to base if you want like the villager trading hall.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I will be the
Mhm.
first to admit villagers are really strong. Villagers
Yes.
are borderline overpowered.
Yeah,
But
I can see that.
that's not the way to fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the way to fix it is either like uh and like I know they did also revert the villager like curing bonuses. So
Hmm.
now if you cure a villager, like you can't just cure a villager like 3 times and have it be
I
like a
like that.
one
Yeah, yeah.
emerald.
I actually do like that change. I don't think like villagers should, because like that's like beyond abuse of the villagers where you get them all down to like one emerald,
Yeah.
and then like, because then you could literally go like buy the bookshelf for one emerald, break the three into the books, and then get nine emeralds out of it. You know?
Yeah, it is broken beyond broken.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is dumb. Which or like that is a good change in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Like having it be once, like you cure a villager, it reduces the price.
Hmm.
That's good. The
Yeah,
hero of the
yeah.
village, like price
Yeah, I
reduction,
think
that's a
each of
good
them should
change.
only reduce it once, is
Hmm.
basically like what we're getting at, right? Like, I think that's a good change and make you actually spend the, like, grind out the emeralds.
Yeah.
But,
I am slowly getting this place done.
mhm. So, let's see, what else is there? I think, there's also, like, the fact that I think, like, we should look to, like, buff, buff other villager types. Because right now, realistically, if you have an armor, like one armor gets you all the like armor types, right?
Hmm.
You within like two toolsmiths, you could get all the diamond tools. Within and then one of the weaponsmiths gives you like all your diamond weapons, right?
Yeah.
And then past that, you just need like the two farmers for the golden apples, three like the Fletcher for the fletching for like the types of arrows that you want, and then the rest are just librarians,
Yeah.
right? So like over half the villagers aren't even useful, I think is another problem.
Yeah, and like I think like there's a lot of cool ways you could up the like the villagers, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
take
yeah.
like the clerics, right? What if the
Yeah.
clerics sold like potion ingredients
Mhm.
that were like special, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
there's plenty of effects in this game that you cannot
Mhm.
make potions for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would like to see that, like, or like being able to trade for like harder to get ingredients,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like it would be cool if you
Yeah.
could like trade with a like I know you can trade with like a cartographer village for like maps, right? And
Yeah,
like those
yeah.
maps are how you like they can help you find structures, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
instead of having to just like roam around the ocean forever until you find a sea temple, you can just go buy a map to a sea temple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like a cool use of the village is like or like the
Mhm.
villagers is giving you
Yeah.
access to hidden information that you can only ever get with external sources, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like you can always find a sea temple with
Hmm.
a secondary program, like on the web or on your computer. You can always just like put your Minecraft world seed in with the
Yeah,
version and
yeah.
be like, where is a
Hmm.
sea temple? Where is a village? Where is a witch hut?
Yeah,
Where are
yeah.
slime chunks?
Hmm. But
Um,
basically, like, make that info available through villagers and kind of make it an in-game thing,
yeah.
right?
Um, I think another cool thing would be like I know we talked about like the rare potion ingredients.
Hmm.
I think it'd also be cool if you had like maybe rare plants, right? Like a botanist, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you
That would be cool.
like after how much time I spent searching around for a cactus or like a desert for a
Hmm.
cactus, right? It'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
cool if you could and I know that's what the wandering trader is for, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
different. Like the wandering
Yeah.
trader is
I'll be
like
honest, the Wandering Trader kind of sucks.
it does. It's two leads.
Yeah,
It's two
yeah.
leads whenever he shows up. That's all he ever is.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
two
Like, he's two
leads.
leads, and once in a while you get, like, packed ice, right?
Or like coral or like
Yeah,
glowberry or
or like
something
if
like
you
that, yeah.
really can't, or if like you really didn't want to use the seeds, and oh, and this is where one you could like kind of buff the cartographer, or even like if you want to look at it, buff the let me see what other villager types. And see, like, this is what I mean. I don't even know like all the other villager types,
Yeah.
right?
There's like so
Wait,
many
let
and
me.
you only
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
use
and
two.
you only know like a couple of them. So like this could be a cartographer, or even like honestly, I would put this even to a buff on the shepherd, right?
Hmm.
Is like, you know how like the cartographer can show you where like slime chunks are to get like the the slime thing, because like I know like
Yeah,
that's
that'd
a
be
big
cool.
thing. Yeah, or like a fisherman can sell you like slime, because they generate in like the marsh, which is kind of like water in a sense. Give that as a fisherman's sale, which is like pretty good. or
Yeah.
what, or just like something like that,
Yeah. And
like
like
so mhm,
yeah. And like going off the concept that they have with the librarian villagers, right? I
mhm.
don't think
Yeah.
that region locked trades are a
Hmm.
bad concept, right?
Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah,
it is a
yeah.
cool concept that, if done correctly,
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
interesting, right? Like,
Hmm.
like take for example, right? Like a village in a dark oak forest, right? They
Hmm.
would give you a map to a dark oak mansion,
Yeah, yeah,
or a
yeah.
village on like uh, a desert would give you a map to like a desert temple, right? So like those
Hmm.
kind of like those like smaller, less important things, right? Where it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
this regional village gives me this, so I should keep this
Hmm.
village in mind, or I should go exploring for this kind of village.
Yeah,
It also
yeah.
means that you're not constantly looking around blindly for these couple structures that are like really special.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if we're talking about what I think they need to update first, believe it or not, I think the Jungle Temple needs an update. I think that
Yeah,
needs an
for
update the
sure, for
most.
sure, for sure.
I think that there's absolutely no reason that the Jungle Temple needs to still be the way it was from like it. For reference, I have played this game since 1.5 Minecraft,
Hmm.
right? Minecraft version
Yeah, yeah.
1.5. The
Yeah,
Jungle
yeah.
Temple has been the same since Minecraft
Hmm.
version 1.5. There's
Yikes.
no reason it needs to be that outdated.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, what else could they what else could they do with the like villages? I do kind of feel like they could update the what is it, the like stepping away from the villager trades, right?
Hmm.
I feel like they could update like what some of the villagers do, right? Like one of the
Yeah,
things that
yeah.
I've always wanted, right,
Hmm.
is turrets in the game, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we have those. They're called snow golems. But do you know what the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
problem with snow golems is? They don't do any damage.
Yeah.
So it would be really cool, like if you could trade with a villager in a snow biome to get
Hmm.
like a special type of carved pumpkin. That when
Hmm.
you make a snow golem with that carved pumpkin, it
Hmm.
makes the snowballs like rocky snowballs or something like that, right? And those
Mm.
actually do a small amount of damage.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Actually,
you could have like turrets.
that's actually really smart. That's a good way to like add on.
Yeah, just like those very little like niche things that it's like this isn't something you need for an average like Minecraft playthrough, right? Unlike
Yeah, yeah,
library
yeah.
books, like you
Hmm.
always want special enchants for different situations, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But just those little things where it's like, oh yeah, I have to go build a village in a snow biome now. If I
Hmm.
want turrets for my like castle, if I want like archers for my castle walls, and I want to imprison snow golems up there, then
Hmm.
that's what I need. Is I need
Yeah.
those special pumpkins,
Hmm.
and that would be a cool thing. I feel like that is a better way to do this regional villager thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
You know what? Something like I really like. That was in like a mod that I was playing. So the do you know about like bounties?
I think I do know the bounty mod. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So bounty mod is one like I personally really enjoy. So it gives you like more of it. Well, like all the villager trading stuff stays the same, and I think people like how like villager trading is now because one, it's easy, and two, it gets you like all this stuff that makes you feel really good, right? I think
Yeah.
that's like a good part of the game too, is being able to just like have that. But a way to improve like villages in general, so that not everyone's just using it to like hole up two villagers and make a farm and then like, forget about the villager forever, right?
Yeah.
A good way to improve on that is adding the bounty system and making them worth just a lot more emeralds, or like give like certain things that you can't get from villager trades, like that's something I could even see like you moving mending to, in order to like you move mending to that, and do it like get mending through that way instead of like having it as like a librarian trade, right?
Yeah. Because like the reason mending villagers are so important to
Overpowered.
people is because it is just so like it's such an important enchantment, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
goes on
yeah.
literally everything. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
what it is. If it has durability and can take enchantments, you put a mending on it, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've even thought of putting mending on shears because I like if I'm using mending, like
Mhm.
if I want like a lot of leaves or something or like
Yeah, yeah.
cobwebs, I might as well
Hmm.
like have shears that don't break.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is actually something you might not know, but there was a time period where the only way you could get cobwebs in the game, like
Hmm.
the block of cobwebs, right,
Yeah, yeah.
was you had to put silk touch on shears, and then you had to mine them with the
Oh,
shears.
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was. But silk touch shears were actually this really cool tool, right? Because you could use
Hmm.
it on glass panes,
Yeah, yeah.
grasses, and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
when you used it on glass and everything, it didn't actually
Hmm.
take any durability. It just considered it you were breaking it with your fist.
Oh, that's
So you're
kind of
able to
cool.
like uh, place down a bunch of glass and break it without having to waste durability on your tools to break it.
Hmm.
And there's actually a. I actually found this out from it's another YouTuber. Right? He's HBomb94.
Hmm.
He I used to watch some of his Minecraft SMP
Hmm.
videos back when I was like in middle school,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he did like this entire rant tangent video of like
Hmm.
why silk touch shears were the best tool in the
Yeah, like the
game.
best tools in the game.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, that is the only way you could get cobwebs in the game was you had to put silk touch on shears.
Hmm. That's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though. It's one of those like
Wait, quick question. Sorry to cut you off. How far away does lightning have to strike? Like, how close do I have to put a? Well, how far away do I have to put a lightning rod so that my villagers don't become witches?
I'm not sure how far away it has to be, but I know a
Uh-huh.
lightning rod does cover quite a large area.
All right. I guess like I'll put one on each side and hope for the best.
That's probably good enough. I mean, you could look it
Yeah.
up really quick.
Yeah. 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 It's fine. I'll just place one here. I'll just put one in each half.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll
Should be
work.
fine. Yeah, it'll work out. I'll put one here. Oh, that brings me to another point, which is kind of funny. There like Minecraft has like a lot of these cool like things that you can do. Uh, that like helps like make farms easier if you know about them, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like for instance, like if you're trying to get gold, for instance, right? One of the ways you could do it is actually you could bring a bunch of pigs all together and get it put a lightning rod and then zap them because they become zombie piglins. But
Yeah.
something like you may not know is with zombie piglins, if you bring them to the Nether and you give them the weakness arrow and the golden carrot, they'll actually become like regular piglins, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't actually
yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
so that's something not a lot of people know, and this becomes really helpful when you're doing a piglin bartering thing, right? So you don't actually have to go out and like lead a piglin.
Yeah,
You
you
could
don't
actually
have to worry
drag
about
it
it
through your own
beating
Nether
your ass.
portal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to worry about them like going and absolutely annihilating you.
All right. I think I'm almost done filling in this water, like this flooded cave system.
Hmm.
Uh, oh, okay. This is. I
All
gotta do
right.
this side too.
I'm almost at where I can do my let's see. Yeah. I pretty much have my iron farm going now, right? All I have left to do is start getting my librarians.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's one of the things about like this. This took like a really long time to do, but it was like worth it in the end.
Yeah. There's a lot of things like that. where it's just like it takes forever to do, but it is just worth it to get it over
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Um,
And plus, you feel like pretty accomplished after building like such a big. I feel like the big farms, as boring as Hatch wants to say they do feel really good when you actually finish them.
yeah, it is like a small like little, it's a little victory type thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like the whole thing with like gathering all the materials and everything. Like, it's very, it's definitely an achievement.
All
But
right. Okay. Let's go ahead and start digging this portion out. There's almost nothing else left to do other than
oh, how do you
start
fe-
digging.
quick? I actually have a quick question for you.
Sure.
This is more of like how you build this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because eventually, like we all get into like strip mining for diamonds. That's like one of the best ways to do it,
Yeah.
right? How do you like to build your strip mine?
So I always do a three wide like main tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's how I always do it. And then the way that I strip mine is I go. I usually do. Sorry, I'm trying to think how to describe this. I go forward five,
Uh-huh.
and then I dig 5 blocks to the side, each
Mm-hmm.
side, and then I go forward five again, and I place a torch.
Mm. Okay.
And so it's like, so it's yeah, you do 5 block long poke holes because that's how far you can reach is 5 blocks. That's
Yeah.
what it's called. It's poke holes, um, either side of the strip mine, and
Mm-hmm.
then you go every 10 blocks. I place a torch.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do the poke holes is because you're just exposing more stone without
Mm-hmm.
having to dig as far, right?
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
I have heard some people say you do the poke holes every, let's see, one, two, you do them every 5 blocks,
Yeah, yeah.
because then you have when you do the 5 block wide poke holes, right? Diamonds
Mm-hmm.
usually are. This was back in the day, right? Diamonds were
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
in 2 by 2 clusters. Very
Mm-hmm.
rarely did you miss a singular diamond.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like if you did uh, the poke holes every 5 blocks, right? So 3 blocks in
Mm-hmm.
between, and then the two
Mm-hmm.
poke holes being blocks 1 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Then you were always uncovering. Uh, you would always hit a 2 by 2 block of diamond if you
Mm.
did that poke
Okay.
hole.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So that's the long-winded explanation.
Hmm. Also, the other way, the other question I had, like this is like more what I was getting to is when you do your strip mines, do you dig straight down or do you stare down?
uh, it's kind of it's kind of either or. It really
Hmm.
depends on where I'm at in my progression
Hmm.
of the game, right? Because like if I've gone to
All
the
right.
Nether and I'm just starting to strip mine afterwards, I'll
Hmm.
dig straight down because then I'll do a soul sand water elevator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's how I do it.
but if I'm like I don't have any diamonds, I don't have any iron, I didn't give any luck caving, I just need to strip mine,
Hmm.
then I will just stare down. Because
Okay. Oh, just so you get to like level 16 for the iron and stuff like that, right?
yeah, because like when you're like stairs are faster than like ladders
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
scaffolding.
yeah. I actually hate ladders. Like
They're
ladders are
so
like
slow. It's so slow.
yeah.
It's so lame. Uh,
Ladders should not exist.
yeah,
Like,
believe
especially like scaffolding being faster and easier to navigate.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
ladders feel obsolete now.
yeah, ladders are just they're so slow. They're so lame.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
stairs are faster than that, but stairs are
Hmm.
not nearly as fast as a bubble column.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in the
Hmm.
later game, I do just bubble column. I do just bubble elevator. It's
Gotcha.
just easier.
Hmm.
But
That makes
either
sense.
way, I need to. How am I gonna do this? I gotta figure out how I'm gonna fill in this giant block of water. I don't even know how big it is. It's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's like a dozen blocks.
Hmm.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah. I need to kidnap a pillager now. Like that's the last thing I gotta do on my thing.
Uh, See,
Like,
the way I used to clear out water before sponges were a thing, right, was I'd use
mhm.
leaves. Because you used to be
Oh,
able,
because you could
leaves would replace
waterlog them.
water, yeah, and leaves would replace the water, and then you could just burn the leaves.
Mm.
But you can't do that anymore because leaves get waterlogged.
Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
So I don't know if there's any blocks that can't get waterlogged, but can also be burned.
Slabs, maybe?
No, you can waterlog a slab.
Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah, wait. Can you waterlog?
I think you can waterlog
Uh,
scaffolding. I think you can waterlog.
yeah.
I think you can waterlog basically every non-full block except for doors. But
Yeah.
and I'm not sure doors might be able to burn, but then it's like so much wood. It's six
Yeah,
blocks of
yeah.
wood
It's
to clear
not worth.
six
It's
blocks of
six wood.
water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
It's
so
six
much
wood
wood. It's
for it.
so
It's
much.
not worth it.
So
It
many
becomes not
resources.
worth
Yeah,
it.
like
Yeah.
one of the big things about leaves is you could just go to like a forest and
Any
just
tree, just
shear
or
off
yeah,
every
yeah.
tree.
Just
Yeah,
go. Yeah, and just go at it.
yeah. So it's not nearly worth it.
Hmm.
It's like I think I feel like dirt is just the best way to do this. Technically, I think sand would be the fastest way to do it.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, I could see sand being the fastest.
so I probably should just go ahead and go up and get all my sand and then do that down
Hmm.
here. Okay. Well, with that being said, let's go. I guess let's go do that. That's about the best I can do.
Toppers are so awesome, but holy shit, there you need so fucking many of them.
Yeah. So let's rewind to Yu-Gi-Oh for a bit, right?
Yeah.
What is your thought? I mean, we've already I've already heard your thoughts on like the current format and everything, right? Because
Hmm.
we talked about
Yes,
it a
yes.
little while, but let's talk
Yeah.
about deck specifics, right?
Uh-huh.
Like decks you like, right?
Uh-huh.
What is your tentative view on like Raid Raptors?
All right, so I love that this is a deck right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Like it's a deck
So
that people are
for
genuinely considering. Like Tribute
yeah,
Landius is
yeah,
up to like $7 a copy. It's crazy.
yeah, which is kind of insane, but at the same time, like I believe it is valid. The fact that like this deck was like the budget deck, it was like at a time it was like $80 almost, like to build the full deck, right?
Yeah.
Which in itself is like very insane. But even like that price aside, I love like Towers Turbo has just been almost like not a thing until like, but and it kind of like came back like recently,
Yeah, like the
right?
last Towers Turbo deck that I can remember is Ad Ignister. Like that was the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
like
Agnister
genuine
and Marine
like
Cess.
that was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah, that was like the last Ad Ignister and Marincess were like the last two like genuine Towers Turbo decks that people actually considered.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I actually do like the fact that we have this option because one, obviously, it helps people who aren't exactly going like, I'm about to drop 1,500 on, on
Snake Eyes, yeah.
Snake Eyes, right? The other thing is, uh, like, as you know, like voice to voice, especially now that people are starting to see it, uh, it's expensive. Low is like $80, like you said. So like even though like that deck is a third of the price of Snake Eyes, a third of the price being $500 still is not like,
It's not great,
it's
no.
not great. Yeah, yeah. It's like the scare tactic. It's like the reverse of the scare tactic where like you're saying, "Oh, the chance is double," when it's really going from 1% to 2% with the the pot of desires thing that I mentioned before, right?
Yeah.
So, this is like the reverse of it now, and you're just like, well, what are my other options? The fact that Raid Raptor, not only an anime deck, so that's a huge plus. I do think being a good anime deck is a huge plus, right? It's that it plays cards that like people recognize from the anime, being like Ultimate Falcon, which is also another really good thing. And third is this is one of the few decks that don't have to jam like 30 hand traps in order to compete, right?
Right.
So with those three things, I do think that this is a deck that is really worth considering, right?
Yeah.
If like as for as much as people hate Towers Turbo, this is a Towers Turbo that does do things a bit different. So I do think like even if you're normally against Towers Turbo, give it a like just give it a try, right? You'll be pleasantly surprised in my opinion. And another great thing about this deck is you're able to play how do you say it?
Non-engine.
You're able to like yeah, like you have options to play like more non-engine, or you could just play like a lot. There's a lot of in-engine outs to stuff, and while it is difficult to play, it does like reward you for knowing how to play around certain hand traps, right? And there's pretty much an avenue through like every single hand trap is another thing, right?
Yeah. I
Well,
think.
you may not be able to play through Nibiru and in perm, but you can play through Nibiru or in perm.
Yeah. I think.
Hmm.
In my opinion, right, from what I've heard, and
Yeah.
I haven't
Hmm.
tried the deck out, right.
Hmm.
I thought about picking it up after seeing like people looking into the
Hmm.
deck, but then when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw like Tribute Lanius was like 15, like
Hmm.
$10 or $15, and
Yeah, yeah.
like there's a couple other cards like Arsenal Falcon I think is up to like 12,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just like other things like that, right? I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't really want to spend that much money on this deck, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is always a fair, it's always a fair
Hmm.
reason in my opinion, right? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like the thing that I've heard about this deck is it is a more challenging deck to play. It's more akin
Yes,
to
yes.
DDDs and Virtual World
Hmm.
than it is like
Hmm.
Adagnister or something else. Like where it's
Or like
you just
Marin
remember the
Chest, yeah.
combo and you're just good. Like
Yeah,
if you get to
yeah,
the boss monster, you win the game. If you don't, it's okay. There's games 2 and 3.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
um, that's how I've heard people describe the deck. Is it's very much a difficult deck to play, because
Hmm.
you don't always know what to do in every situation.
Hmm.
So, um, but
Yeah, I do think that is a problem
in terms of
with
what
the
I've seen
deck.
about the deck, it does look
Hmm.
cool at the very minimum.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it like you said, it's an anime deck, so it looks interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the cards aren't very expensive, which is always nice.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
when I say the cards aren't very expensive, the new cards aren't very expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
The I think the most expensive card from Phantom Nightmare is the
Hmm.
ultra rare Rising Rebellion Falcon, which I believe is
Hmm.
$5.
Hmm.
But like I said, I think Tribute Lanius, or yeah, I think it's Tribute Lanius is like 10 to 15, something like that. It went up,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I think like Arsenal Falcon is like 7 or 8. It might
Hmm.
even be like 10. And then there's like a couple other like extra deck cards, like I think Wise Strix, or no, it's
Hmm.
Brave Strix. Brave Strix is the XEs. That has gone up to like $2 or $3 a copy, which
Yeah.
again, that's not a ton, especially when you compare it to Snake Eye Fire King.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
really not that
exactly.
much, but it is just
Hmm.
unfortunate that like the budget deck of the
Hmm.
format did get bought
Hmm.
out. It
Yeah, which yeah, yeah. I think that's a really unfortunate thing of like you just kind of had to be there before, you know.
yeah
Like
you
you had to see it like early on, basically,
yeah you couldn't have
right?
just like popped in and been like, oh. And that's one of the things I feel like they should do more often is decks,
Hmm.
like budget decks that are like kind of contained in the modern set, right? Like
Yeah,
whenever they
yeah.
do these decks that it's like,
Hmm.
oh, this is just like we're doing new support for this deck, and
Hmm.
the old cards get bought out. It's really
Hmm.
unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Adding to that point, so this is thing actually that we do at our locals is we actually have like when there's a budget deck of the format, right? Like in a format, especially like this one, right, where we have decks costing like thousands and thousands of dollars potentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we do is actually we limit how much of the budget option you're allowed to buy.
Oh,
Right?
that's
Well,
nice.
does
Yeah.
it sound like yeah, yeah. So like just to help out like, your average player who's like just trying to get by and be like, well, I really wanted to play this deck, but now like because people know about it, I kind of got screwed over because I found out late. We keep extra copies just to keep the price a little lower for
Mhm.
people like that. And I think that like that's a good practice that like shops should follow, not even like from a player's perspective, but from a shop perspective. It's very good to follow just because it brings returning customers. And like I'll be honest, you're not making most of your money off of like selling individual cards. You're making it off of people coming in and playing and then spending money on packs specifically.
Right.
And if people feel comfortable in your shop, that's where, they'll come and spend money on packs or like support the business, right?
Yeah, and you have
So,
a different perspective than I do, right? But you can tell me,
yes.
like, this is one thing that happened to me. And
Hmm.
this was a little while ago, right? But it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't appreciate it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I was at this was like right after it wasn't after the Super Heavy Samurai cards released, but I think it was
Hmm.
like after the box breaks were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
rolled out on YouTube, right?
Hmm.
Um, a friend of mine and I went to
Hmm.
a local store where they have like lots of bulk
Yeah,
bins, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we were like looking through bulk bins. We spent a couple hours looking through bulk bins, and I
Hmm.
found like 3 or 4 copies of the Super Heavy Samurai Soul Piercer, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I took them up to the front desk or to
Uh-huh.
the counter and was like, "Hey, I found these cards in the bulk. I want to buy them." You know, just like you
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
do. He looked through
Hmm.
them and was like, "Oh, these cards went up." And he was like, "So let me check them real quick. I think these cards went up.
Yeah.
Let me check them real quick." And he's like, "Okay, they're
Hmm.
$5, so that's what I'm gonna charge you for them." It's like, no, I don't want them for five
Ooh.
bucks. I found them in
Yeah.
the bulk bin.
The-
I want them for the
Yeah,
bulk
the
price.
whole
And
point of finding yeah, yeah, the whole point of finding them in the bulk bin is to get the bulk price because you had to dig through it
yeah,
anyway.
and he was
Like,
like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna do that." And I was like, "Okay, well then I don't want them." And he was like, "Okay,"
yeah,
and then he just goes and slides them into the display case. And I was
yeah,
like, "That's kind of a
which
dick
is,
move because like you would like
yeah,
was an employee going to go through that bulk bin? Absolutely not.
yeah,
An employee was
exactly,
not going to go through
exactly.
that bulk bin and find
Hmm.
those cards. So it's like
Hmm.
I spent the effort, like
Yeah, you should
I
get
should be
rewarded
rewarded.
for it. Yeah, yeah.
So that it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I
Yeah,
since you
and I agree. I actually agree with you on this one. Where like I think like if you find it like in the bulk bin, you should be. If anything, like they could be like, oh well, I mean, it is $5, but at the same time, you did find it in the bulk bin. So instead, how about I charge you $3 and you or like meet in like a middle point. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
at least
Like where
like
it's still like you
give
still like earn something out of being the one to find it and not get completely fucked over by the fact that this guy is just like, oh well, I didn't want to look, but now like that you found it, it's mine. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
agree with you. That does rub me the wrong way. I also like have a little bit of an agreement with the shop because like obviously they can't just be like,
I get that
you know,
it is their product.
they have to make yeah, yeah, and they have to make money too, and like this is a product that just went up and all that. But at the same time, like don't be that store guy that like fucks over someone that found it for you. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
like
Like give them something.
yeah, like
Like
my
you don't have to
genuine
give it to yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
like my genuine perspective is like I do get that like it's a shop, it's like their products, right? Everything like that.
Hmm.
But knowing a
Yeah.
little bit more about the shops, right? Knowing a little bit
Yeah,
more
yeah.
about card shops specifically, right? Most
Hmm.
of the time, the bulk bins that they have are either cards that were people didn't want and just didn't
Hmm.
want to throw away, or
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
cards that were bought in bulk from like trade-in value or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and they
Hmm.
just didn't want to sort through it, or
Yeah,
at
exactly.
the time they weren't worth
Mhm.
anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so
So,
from that perspective, I feel like
mhm,
if you are a patron of the store and you are
mhm.
spending time at that store, you know, buying products
Yeah,
from
yeah.
their store, all that stuff, if you're willing to
Mhm.
spend the time to look through it, like
Yeah, they
just
should at least
they
like
should honor
honor
the
something.
pricing system that they have posted on their walls, at their
Yeah,
tables,
yeah.
everything like that. So
Yes,
that
yes.
that's just something that
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
you just
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah,
do.
yeah.
You shouldn't
Mhm.
screw over the people who are
Yeah.
willing to come and
I
spend
think
6 hours
yeah,
in
I
your store.
definitely do think what he did is like really, really wrong. And like that's like in my opinion, like what I call bad business practice. Like every shop has like, they could do what they want. It's their shop, right?
Hmm.
But I do think like having a good relationship with like the people who come in all the time and is the reason why you could run your business. Like, those are like the people that you know who you screw over. You screw over that one guy that only comes in to like try and scam people out of certain cards that don't know, or like, they don't really come by the shop. They're like buying like as a one-time buyer or whatever. All right, whatever. As bad as it sounds, screw those people over for all we care. They're not really like regular patrons and everything. If someone's a regular patron and they know like, oh, you might have this in bulk and like they're genuinely looking for it, they find it. It's like it turns from like, a couple cent card to a $5 card. If it's really like one, obviously you can honor the price. You're not really like losing anything out of it because the same reason, like you said, they're usually cards that people gave up, right?
Hmm.
But two, if you really do want to make a little extra money, that's why I always go like you find like a middle ground. Like you give them like half off like the retail price, charge them 250 instead of the 5. So like they still get a good deal out of it. Well, but like basically that's the good deal is the reward for them like finding the card,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So,
So I think like that's a way to go about it. Personally, for me, I just honor my bulk prices because it just like uh, it makes sense to me because like it's already in there. I listed the price. Like you don't false advertise that stuff. It's just
yeah,
like,
because like one of the ways that I think about it, and you can disagree
Mhm.
with me if you'd like,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
is if nobody was looking through your bulk, right, you would not make
Yeah.
any money, right?
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
at least I'm going there, I'm looking, I'm
Yeah,
spending
yeah.
some time in your store, right? Like if I see
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else, like
Mhm.
oh, the box of like
Mhm.
Age of Overlords
Yeah.
is only like 90
Uh-huh.
bucks. That's actually a good
Yeah.
deal. I might
Mhm.
buy it. But it's like
Yeah.
when you do that shit, it's like ugh, now I
Yeah.
don't even really like if they're gonna
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nickel and dime me on just these like little
Yeah, yeah.
$3 cards.
Mhm.
I don't even
Yeah,
wanna
yeah.
I don't even want to
Like
deal
you don't
with
feel
like
like you don't,
selling.
yeah, like you almost feel like you don't want to go back anymore because you kind of got
Exactly.
fucked over. Um, this is a practice that I think like shops should do, right? Like obviously, like as I said, I honor like the price. Sometimes that does kind of hurt because you have like a $5 card that you just gave away for like 3 cents, right?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't feel good as a shop either. So the way I would do it personally, like if I like revamp my own system, is have them like if they look through it themselves and like the whole time like with the chance of just like straight up not finding it and wasting their time, honor your price, right? That just straight up. But on the flip side, if they ask you if you have it and you said if we do it's in the bulk, that's where I think like the thing where I said like, oh, if it's a $5 card, charge them 250 for. I think that's a situation where like you could do that instead,
Yeah, and I feel
right?
like in that case where they ask like the
It's like they
store,
have
the
like
shop, right?
more of a guarantee. Yeah, they
It's
have
like
a kind of a guarantee that like it's probably in there,
yeah,
you
and
know?
if they do that where it's like they ask the shop like employees or whatever, like, hey, do you have this card? And they're
Yeah,
like, we don't
yeah,
have any pulled out. There might be some in the bulk. Then that's
yeah,
something where like you can have the employees say like, I know this is a card that went up. So
yeah,
if you're gonna
yeah,
look through the bulk, we are gonna charge you more. But like
yeah.
we'll give you a discount on the cards,
Well,
right?
yeah, yeah. Well, like
And
kind of
then
honor a discount.
from my perspective, right, as like
Yeah.
the proverbial or not the proverbial
Mhm.
the well-known bulk diver that I am,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going into it knowing, okay, I'm not gonna get this $5 card for 25 cents.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then it's
Exactly.
like I can weigh my
But you could
options and
get,
determine
yeah,
do I
you,
want to waste my time here or go to a movie, something
yeah,
like that.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Hmm. I
So
think like that becomes like a really good practice because like like it does help your own employees out so you don't just have like every time a common card goes up you don't have them just like wasting their time digging through bulk because I also think that's a bigger waste of money than actually just
like
like
paying the
giving
employees
like
to go
honoring
through
the
it, yeah.
deal, yeah, then like just straight up honoring the deal, right? Like their hour of searching for like that $5 card is not going to make you more money on that $5 sale than it is if they were doing something more productive, right?
Yeah, and
So, but with
I
that,
think the
it
thing
gives
that
an
like
incentive for people to look through bulk, which
yeah,
I
and
really
I think
like.
the thing that like rubbed me the wrong way the most was like
Hmm.
after I told them like okay, I don't want it for $5. Like I
Yeah, they
saw, like
put
as
it
I was
like
packing up, he went and he
yeah.
just threw it in the display case. I was like,
Yeah, that's really like that's a like really big slap to the face that like I
yeah,
really don't like. I can't agree with at all,
yeah.
personally. Yeah,
So,
mhm.
but yeah, so all the whole
Yeah,
thing,
it
but yeah.
happens. Yeah,
So, but yeah, so
yeah. Some people are just yeah. It does. But yeah, I do agree with you. Like that's just like you shouldn't do that because
yeah,
like it's like bad faith almost.
yeah.
You know.
Well, anyways, all right. I'm slowly clearing the water out of this pit. But anyway, let's see what else can we talk about with Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, Not that we're streaming Yu-Gi-Oh right now.
Yeah.
So you were talking
Oh,
about you like this
what was your
format. Oh,
what's
go
your
ahead.
oh, I got one,
Yeah.
right? If you I'm not gonna get into a ban list discussion. That's gonna like get really like heated, right?
Yeah.
But instead, if whatever your favorite archetype is, how would you if it's Fire King, don't answer this, but how would you change it to like keep up with the meta? If you had to like get either like give it a card or like you know
Oh, okay, yeah. So
change in theme or like staying like relatively on theme with the art at least, how
yeah.
would you change it?
So I do have an answer.
Okay, sick.
So I've thought about this for a couple times, right? So
Hmm.
my favorite archetype of all time
Yes.
is
Yes.
Fluffles. My favorite
Uh-huh. Okay,
archetype.
that's a good choice.
I think
Good choice.
it's a very cool archetype. It's a very
Hmm.
like funny archetype.
Hmm.
But there's one big problem with Fluffles, right? And the problem with
Yes.
Fluffles is that the Edgimps, the Fluffles, and the Frightfurs are not connected
Hmm.
in a searchable way, right?
Hmm.
Like the best you have is Edgimp Chains can search
Yeah.
Patchwork, which can search,
Uh-huh.
or Edgimp Chains can search any Frightfur card, so you can search a Fusion,
Yes.
or
Hmm.
it can search any Edgimp through
Yeah,
Patchwork.
yeah.
So the
Hmm.
Edgimps and the Frightfurs are connected in that way, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's no connection between Toy Vendor and the
Hmm.
Fluffles to the Edgimps and the
Hmm.
Frightfurs. So you just have to
Hmm.
draw them randomly, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very bad if you didn't already
Hmm.
know. So the way that you fix that is
Hmm.
so it's going to be like a link one. It's either going to be a link one, which I know like oh yeah of course give the bad archetype the link one, but just like hear me out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
It's
classic.
yeah. So it's either a link one or it's like it's a Thunder Dragon Colossus type of fusion summon, where it's like it's a
Hmm.
fusion summon, but it's really a link summon.
Hmm.
And so what it is I've actually thought about what you call this card. You call it Toy Master, right? Because
Hmm.
obviously, or like the Toy Maker or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
effect is one, or so its materials are one Fluffle, Frightfur, or Edgent monster, and it
Hmm.
has the conditional parenthetical text where it's this card is
Hmm.
always treated as a Fluffle, Frightfur, or Edgent monster.
Hmm.
And what this does is, if that's all the card it is already a much
Hmm.
better card, right? Because what you can do
Yeah,
is
yeah.
you can go normal summon Edgem Chains, link for the Toy Master,
Hmm.
or the Toy Maker, right? You
Hmm.
trigger Edgem Chains. Edgem Chains
Yeah.
gets you a search of Fright for Patchwork. Fright
Hmm.
for Patchwork can add you like Edgem Sabers. It doesn't really matter what Edgem you add. It's
Yeah,
probably going to be
yeah.
Sabers because Sabers
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what you
yeah.
need. And a Poly.
Hmm.
You Poly the Toy Master because it's treated as a Fluffle, and these
Hmm.
Sabers away for Cruel Whale, and then Cruel
Hmm.
Whale can dump any Fright Fur card from your. You can Foolish
Mm.
Barely any Fright Fur card. So
Mhm.
what you have done is you have made a way to connect the Fluffle, Frightfur, and Edgeimps all together in a way that allows you to like search stuff, right? Because then what you can
Mhm.
do is like if you have a toy vendor, you can Cruel Whale pop the toy vendor in itself,
Mhm.
and then toy vendor gets its search. You can dump
Mhm.
the archetypal double summon, so then you can do other stuff, and that's
Mhm.
like that's the main way you connect everything, right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
it
yeah.
just matters like what other effect you give the toy master or the toy maker.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think the best effect you could give it is like once per turn, or maybe even just once per game, or once per
Mhm.
duel. Place a toy vendor face up in your spell and trap zone. Uh,
Mm.
that is the best. That is the least like broken thing you can print on a Fluffle card that doesn't just straight up say win the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because like I said, it gives you a way to access the toy vendor, It
Mm-hmm.
gives you a way to pop it with Crew Whale, and it connects
Mm-hmm.
all the Fluffle Frighters and Edge Imps.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
coming to my TED Talk.
All right, that's actually a cool way to solve it.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
All right. What about you?
Uh,
What's your fix this archetype card?
all right. So my my Fixtus archetype card
Is it
is
Marincess or is it
Ixmarincess.
Okay.
Well, so I don't want to say I would have said Ice Barrier, but Ice Barrier is actually going to be pretty good, so I'm not going to say
It's
that.
already getting fixed. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So I will say like in this case, I guess I will go with Marincess, and so I'll be honest, the easiest fix to Marincess, and this is very very simple, right? Is give the field spell protection from spell effects. That's
Okay.
the only fix it. All right, so let me actually kind of explain, like, you know, uh, like why
You
we
need to
go about it
protect the
this
battle
way, right?
ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. So Marine Chess, if any of you know, right, uh, is basically Raid Raptor's type of tower turbo, like to compare to like a modern deck, like a current deck. It's like Raid Raptors with in terms of how you go about with like it being towers dot deck, right?
Hmm.
What does it do? It gives you like infinite impermanence every turn, which is really good if you like, look look the right way. Um, the end board and everything, all very good, all very strong. Like, you know, don't really need like much fixing. However, the issue with Marincess is like if they have Cosmic Cyclone, you just lose the game, right?
Yeah.
So, uh, Nightmare Mermaid will not beat it because like you can still negate it and stuff, or like you'll force them onto like having multiple monster ones that can. So if you just give it protection like that through like that way, through like just give the field spell its own protection against monster effects, right? It pretty much the deck will play itself,
Hmm.
and and it won't be like too strong either, just because like Marine System itself just isn't like absurdly strong as a deck, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I like that's the archetype I would go for. But I also just really like Marine Chess, so you know.
Yeah. We all do.
Funny enough, yeah, you don't really need to fix it, honestly. It functions, it's good. Like there's not much you need to do with it. But yeah, I guess like if I were to make it tier one, that's how I would do it.
That's fair. I mean, in my opinion, like I think
Mhm.
like my like Link one, right, Toy Maker. I
Yeah, it
think
was really cool. That's a really cool idea.
yeah. I think that is at least the effects that I have described. That is the
Hmm.
best way to make the deck um, cohesive. Because
Yeah.
it Fluffle has been like rogue playable many times throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's
Hmm.
history. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that's the best way to make it a cohesive deck that doesn't like it's not like struggling to find other pieces, right? Because there's tons of
Yeah.
times when I've been playing Fluffles where I'm like, gosh, I just wish I had uh,
Hmm.
access to a Fluffle, or I wish I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
like
yeah.
any Fright Fur on field.
Hmm.
Um, the difference
Hmm.
between it being like, oh, just a cohesive rogue strategy, like like kind of like more like Sky Strikers nowadays, where it's like
Yeah,
it knows what it's doing and it's not struggling to
yeah. Hmm.
find pieces of it, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
difference
yeah.
between that and whether it's like tier one or tier two is just whatever the extra effect of the toy maker card would be.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like if they give it like this effect where it's like destroy a toy or like send a toy vendor from your deck to the graveyard, right? It's a
Hmm.
Link one that is also a Rhoda.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or if they have the effect where it's like you could stack a card to the top of your deck, right? That way you always
Hmm.
guarantee you hit off the toy vendor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, then that would be a very like that would be a really cool way to make the deck more powerful.
Hmm.
But it like I said, it all just depends on what the additional effect is. All you need to
Hmm.
make Fluffles a cohesive archetype again is like I
It's
said,
just any card that puts the two together, like
yeah,
the
is
stuff
just
together, right?
if there yeah if it's just a card that you can always get to that just says it's
Hmm.
always treated as a Fluffle, Frifer, or Regent. That's all it needs
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be,
that's all you need.
and then
It's
it's
like
linking off stuff.
it kind of reminds me of the prank kid situation where
Yep.
like, yeah, cool, they gave it a Link One, boo hoo, but that's literally all they need. Like they, I'll be honest, Meow Meow did not need an effect.
Yeah. No, they just needed a way to send their prank kids to grave
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
summon. That's all it needed. That's all it ever
Exactly,
needed.
exactly. Yeah. So like I think like this is one of those same situations, right? Like the only thing is literally you just needed what's called a single like you just needed a single
Just a single way
like
to
you
get
just
stuff
need
from the grave. Yeah.
yeah, a single way to like link the two together basically.
Hmm. Just to like join the three archetypes that are
Mhm.
weirdly disjointed, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
like most people don't know this. Like if they know what Toy Vendor does, they definitely don't know there
Mhm.
is an Edgimp version of Toy Vendor.
Yeah, yeah.
It's called Toy Jar. It's a trap card. It's
Mhm.
terrible.
It's
But
terrible.
it
It's
does
horrible.
like it does the same thing where it's like you ditch a card, you draw a card,
Mhm.
reveal it. If it's an edge imp, you special it. You
Yeah,
or you can
yeah.
actually special any card from your hand.
Mhm.
And if it goes to graveyard, you can search an edge imp card.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you really don't want to be playing that because you don't have access to it. Case in point,
Mhm.
like Fluffle has Fluffle Bear, right, which literally says discard this card, set
Mhm.
a toy vendor.
Yes.
There is no Edgimp version of Fluffle Bear where it's like
Yeah,
discard this
yeah,
card,
yeah.
set a Fright for Jar, or even place a Fright for Jar so you can activate it the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
turn.
Mhm.
So that just kind of disjointed. That disjoint in the archetype is all that makes it
Mhm.
like not nearly as good as it could be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
But yeah,
Nice.
that is my
Mhm.
Fluffle solution.
Mhm. It's a pretty good solution. I
I
could
have put a lot of thought into how to fix Fluffles because it is just such
mhm.
a fun archetype.
Yeah, yeah.
If you guys have never played Fluffles, give it a try. It's an
Mhm.
incredibly generic archetype. Does not lock you
Mhm.
into anything. The only thing you need to be aware of is like there's a lot of cards that were printed not necessarily pre PSET, but like in between PSET and non PSET.
Mhm.
So it's like
So it looks weird,
yeah,
basically.
like there's some cards that are just like worded very poorly, right? Like Fluffle
Mhm.
Dog, right? It's a Stratos for the archetype. It says
Mhm.
when this card is summoned from your hand. So it can be normal summoned, special summoned, uh, but like if you call the haunted it doesn't trigger. So those kind
Mhm.
of like weird effect restrictions are like sprinkled all over the Fluffles, right? Um, One big thing that kind of sucked for for when it came out, right, was Baron. Baron's once or soft once per turn, so it's once while placed upon the field, right? That effect is also on the best card in the archetype, Fluffle Penguin, which says once while face up on the field, you can activate this effect, special summon a Fluffle from your hand, right?
Mhm.
So when people found out, okay, so it actually has to remain on the field, and Baron was around and Ghost Ogre was really big because Baron and the adventure cards were big, um, people started Ghost Ogring my Penguin. And it's like, oh, okay, great, this doesn't go through now. So it was a very weird. There's a lot of very weird effect restrictions like that on the Fluffle cards. So that's just like really the only thing you have to be aware of when you're playing the deck. But it is a very fun deck. But yeah, I've been meaning to mess around with Fluffles again, but it's just it's not the time.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Uh, the last time Fluffles were like meta, if you want to call them that,
Mhm.
was back when Artifact Scythe was legal. I
Yo,
was scythe
Scythe
locking
is
bitches before scythe locking
mhm.
was cool.
Yeah. Yo, I love scythe locking people, but
I miss it.
unfortunately,
I miss it a
yeah,
little
so do
bit.
I.
I like okay. I genuinely like don't miss like being scythe locked, but I miss scythe locking people, and also like I played a lot of decks that just didn't care about scythe lock, right? Like back in the like branded Sword Soul format, right before the adventure cards came out and were meta, I played Cyber's Eldritch Pile, and that deck didn't care at all about Scythe Lock. It kind of cared about Protoss Lock, but only like hand dependent, right? So it's like I was perfectly fine with Scythe being legal because not only was I Scythe locking people, but I didn't lose to the Scythe Lock, which always feels good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that was, yeah, Scythe. Well, I won't sit here and say Scythe was a fair and balanced card, but I will say it was a fun card. I
It
enjoyed
was. It
playing with it for
was.
the time I had. Alrighty.
All right. Yeah. Uh, on another note with Minecraft though, like, how do you feel about auto sorters?
I'm really used to them in modded Minecraft, so I kind of would want them.
Hmm.
Um, oh, do you mean like hopper sorters?
No, no, so you know, like the auto sorter builds that some people do.
Yeah, like where it's like you have item filters, like hopper item
Y
filters, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, like those are fine. I thought you meant like there's a mod. I don't know what it is. I
Uh-huh.
think it's inventory
Hmm.
tweaks.
Hmm.
But it lets you, if you click your middle mouse wheel, it organizes
Uh-huh.
all the items by alphabetical.
Oh, that's actually really that's
It's a really really nice mod, especially in like very heavily modded Minecraft builds
yeah, yeah.
where like there's like 200 plus mods, right? And you
Hmm.
are just struggling to stay organized or anything. Just any
Hmm.
inventory you middle mouse click, it sorts it alphabetical top to bottom. It's
Hmm.
just it ends up just being very convenient. And
Hmm.
there was a long time where I played modded Minecraft, and when I went back to playing vanilla because there were some new
Hmm.
features that I wanted to mess around with and I thought were
Yeah.
cool. Um, every time I opened a chest, I would click my middle mouse, and
Oh,
everyone's like, "Why the fuck
that
are you doing
happened.
that?" And it's like, "Why is it not organizing?" Don't ask me why I'm doing it. Ask the game why it's not organizing the fucking chest.
Yeah, I think that's something Minecraft should definitely add. I think in
With as
alphabetical.
many items as there are, yeah, it would
Yeah.
be very nice to have the middle
Hmm.
mouse button just auto
Hmm.
sort.
Yeah. But right. So obviously, like, how do you feel about hatch trolling?
Like Minecraft server.
Yes.
I think that is a unique to you
Exclu-
problem. Not gonna lie.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yo, yeah. So people who don't know, we have a friend, Hatch, who really likes to come to my chest and just put everything everywhere. He doesn't even take anything. He just likes to put them places, you know?
I mean, sometimes you just gotta put it in something. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, that's why like I was asking about the item sorter because this is my anti hatch. So at least I could just grab all the items and put them back.
yeah, my biggest problem with like hopper chest item sorters, right,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
is that you can really only do one item per chest, and
Yeah.
that can be kind of annoying from
Yeah,
my
yeah, that's
perspective.
true. Yeah, that is a little annoying. But at the same time, I think like the later in the game you go in terms of like building, the more worth it becomes to have.
Yeah,
Just because like you'll start once you start actually like piling up a lot of resources, then like that's where like it doesn't matter that it's only one item per chest because,
yeah,
uh
it definitely
you'll
can
just
be
have so
something
much.
where it's like
You'll just have so much.
yeah, it definitely can be something where it's like it is worth to do,
Yeah,
especially when
yeah.
you get into late game. But
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's like I really do wish there was a way to do multiple
Hmm.
items go into one chest without
Hmm.
having
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
clog
So you could
everything.
cut. Yeah. So it's basically like I think like that would be like more possible with the what you were talking about with uh the middle click to sort everything.
Mm-hmm.
If they also had that for just you know for just the like chess systems too to like sort them alphabetically, then you could make like those sorters where like all right, in this one I'm gonna put all the like all of my what's called like all my saplings, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with you. There, it's kind of in like a weird spot with them.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see.
And then, so what else there? Oh, I got one.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about like legacy formats in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Like Time Wizard formats.
Yeah, yeah, Time Wizard formats.
I mean,
Do
they're
you think like they're good for the game or
yes,
like,
they're 100% good for the game.
uh-huh.
I just genuinely do wish that I wish
Uh,
that Yu-Gi-Oh, or like Konami, I should say,
mhm.
had thought it out more when they announced
Yeah.
them. You know, because like
Hmm.
initially when they announced it, it was like, oh, okay, is this Edison? Is this every format? Is there going to be a list of formats? And I
Hmm.
think what Konami did is fine. I
Hmm.
think what they wanted is like the players to understand that these formats exist and they can be supported.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think they
yeah.
wanted to see players doing it on their own before that
Hmm.
they were going to invest resources into it. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
like Edison is so big and is finally starting to see events at like YCSs and stuff
Hmm. Hmm.
is because E3 Yu-Gi-Oh like
Yeah,
championed the
yeah.
format, like got
Hmm.
people to play it, got people interested in it, and
Hmm.
now he's like, and he's running his own tournaments. He was running Edison tournaments before Konami was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and now they're like, okay, so there's people there's now they Konami sees that there's money involved
Hmm.
in running Time
Yeah.
Wizard events, and
Hmm.
because they see that people are willing to pay for it and do that, now
Hmm.
they're supporting it, and that is the part that I don't like. I don't like that
Mm.
it took one guy spending
Yeah.
basically his own money, uh, that he was barely earning anything off of YouTube when he started. Uh,
Like everyone, pretty
yeah,
much.
like everyone. But one guy spending his own money, his own resources, and the community coming together to support him to
Hmm.
get official events that we still have to pay for. um,
Hmm.
I feel like if Konami came out and said, "All right, we're going to like," if they said like, "Okay, we're gonna do a Time Wizard, we're gonna like do Time Wizard events, right? But we want to
Hmm.
know what formats you want to play," and then they put like a poll on their site where it's like, you register, you like get like 3 votes, and you say like, "Okay, I want to play Goat format, Edison format, and Hat format,"
Hmm.
and then they run those at YCSs. And they could redo that vote. They could see like, oh, there's not a lot of people playing this format. We want a different format to play. Then they
Yeah,
give you
yeah, yeah.
options, right? And
Hmm.
that's what I'm trying to do with like Fire Water format, where it's like I
Hmm.
put together the decks. I have cards that I'm taking to my locals and to my with my friends. Whenever they come over to my apartment, I'm always like, hey, why don't we play Fire Water?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like exposing people to the format.
Hmm.
But
I
there's
do think exposure's like to the format's like a big thing that like
yeah.
um because like a lot of people haven't like played these formats before, right? And like they might be inclined to like not try them because like they're like, well, it's still Yu-Gi-Oh, so why am I just not playing with like the newest stuff, the new shiny stuff? But I do think like my one of my issues with Time Wizard is like it does pamper a little bit to like the old players.
Yeah.
And Yu-Gi-Oh's really, if you look, Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of struggling getting new players right now. So I
Yeah.
do think Konami has to do a better job with that first before thinking about doing like Time Wizards.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I would love to see is more products that support
Hmm.
Time Wizard, right? Like speed dual boxes, and
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
kind
I
of
get it.
do, not really. And
Hmm.
then the like Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1, right? One of the biggest
Hmm.
flops of like 2023 products, right?
Hmm.
I don't think it was 2023, I think it was 2022. One of the
Yeah.
biggest flops of the year for 2022, right?
Hmm.
But the concept of old cards, old decks, almost
Hmm.
entirely being re-released was a good
Hmm.
idea. And like
Yeah.
we saw that with Battles of Legend Chapter 1, right? The problem
Hmm.
is they picked probably one of the worst, least interesting, least supported set of cards possible, which was the Hidden
Hmm.
Arsenal dual terminal cards.
Yeah, they were awful. I'll be honest.
Like if they had gone with like the Constellars, the
Hmm.
Zephyras, the Evil Swarms, and
Hmm.
whatever else is in that part of the lore, right? That might have
Yeah.
been at least like seeing some people being like, "Oh, look at that! I remember Evil Swarms during Dragon Ruler
Yeah.
format.
Yeah. Hmm.
I remember Constellars in like Shadal format."
Hmm.
But like nobody played Naturia as like a meta deck. Nobody played
Yeah,
Ice
yeah, yeah.
Bears as a meta deck. Nobody
Yeah,
played
yeah.
Dragoonity as a meta deck,
Hmm.
right? Like Dragoonity saw
Hmm.
some experimentation, but not a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like basically like what happened was they ended up pampering a lot more to like people like me who just play like really awkward decks. But I'm like probably a minority in the community.
yeah,
Is
it
like
was like the single worst lineup of cards to reprint. The
yeah,
only
yeah.
cards that needed a reprint in that entire set were Stratos and
Hmm.
Naturia Beast.
Yeah.
Every single other card in that set was not necessary. Not
Yeah.
Armory
And I think
Arm, not
yeah, I think this is a per
yeah, go ahead.
sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
this is like also kind of a thing that leads me to talking about you know about the 2v2 uh the
Yeah.
2v2 set?
The two player structure deck, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The starter
So
set.
like this is the exact same issue as that, right? Because in there, what was like while you do get a two-player structure deck, one, it does not do anything for you coming into the modern game, which is what it's supposed to. And two, the only worthwhile card in there was Zeus.
Zeus and Coral Dragon were the only cards that were above $1 after 2 weeks.
Yes.
The
Which
rest of
is
the
like
deck was
crazy.
completely worthless.
Yes.
Um,
Which
yeah,
is like a problem, I think.
yeah,
Like in those products, like they should be able to like I'll say it right now, they should have just printed like they should have gave more better reprints. Yeah, like good players will buy them up, but it also gives like people who haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh like a chance to almost catch up, you know?
yeah. I kind of wish they did what Pokemon did, where it's like they take the World Championship deck and they just reprint the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I get that, like, the people who spent money on the cards and
Hmm.
products will be upset, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, there's ways you can do it to where it doesn't make the deck entirely
Well,
worthless
there's yeah,
or something.
there's gonna be people upset regardless. Like if you don't
Yeah.
reprint the card, they'll be upset. If you reprint the card, they'll be upset too. So like I wouldn't even mind like those people. But like the main thing is like newer players on top of just like the game being absurdly hard, like compared to other card games, which it is. Yu-Gi-Oh is probably like one of the
It
harder
is,
card
yeah.
games to
I would
play.
agree with that statement.
The other part is like they're so far behind and you got to spend like so much money to even like have like staples, not even build a real deck, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I will say, right, and you can, some people may crucify me for this, right?
Uh-huh.
I do think right now, right, in terms of
Hmm.
the generic staples that have been played and playable for the
Hmm.
last, couple like like 5 years, right,
Hmm.
are the cheapest they have been in a long time, right?
Yes, yeah,
Imperm,
yeah.
Valor, Ash, Bell,
Yeah.
Ogre, uh,
Troll,
Cosmic
even troll.
Cyclone, Droll, Twin
Yeah.
Twister, Dark Ruler No More, evenly
Hmm.
matched, right? Like,
Hmm.
sure, you're gonna spend like maybe $50 on all of them. But I
Yeah.
remember a time when $50 didn't even get you a playset of Ash Blossoms.
Yeah,
And
like
they
they
were a
got you a
structured
single
at
copy.
common. They
Like,
were a structured
yeah.
at common, and they did not. You could
Hmm.
not get a playset for less than 60.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a
I
terrible
do.
time.
That's one thing I think I actually do like how like some staples like that eventually round out, and like we really only have like one or two like really expensive staples like within each format, you know.
Yeah,
Like Thrust, obviously very expensive new card that just came out, right? But like as Thrust came out, something else became like $1,
yeah.
right?
And then like I'm
So,
trying to thinking about like
like
the
yeah,
cards that are
people like
like
don't
generic
know.
staples,
Yeah,
right?
people
Like,
don't know. There was a moment where you there used to be a moment in Yu-Gi-Oh! This was actually even before you, right?
mhm.
Where we had not only did Ash cost $50 per copy, but we also had Ghost Ogre costing like 15 a copy,
Yeah,
right? So like imagine having and like you needed to and those were like the only hand traps like anyone was like really playing. I think we have kind of reached that point in hand traps where there's so many of them and depending on the situation, like, will depend on like what's good, so to speak.
hmm,
And because of that, uh like while a hand trap may jump up to like $5 or like whatever, it doesn't like we don't get like the it going to like 50, for example, right?
yeah. And like thinking about like the staple cards, right? That
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
released in the past year in Yu-Gi-Oh,
Uh-huh.
right? That
Hmm.
are still expensive, right? There's only two that
Yeah.
come to my mind, and
Hmm.
that are exactly Thrust, which you already mentioned, which
Yeah,
has
yeah.
been reprinted
Uh-huh.
twice
I
now,
think it's like one reprint away from like, just
maybe ten
being
dollars a copy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm. So
But
Thrust,
yeah.
and then
Hmm.
the other one, which is not seeing any play right now for a multitude of reasons, but we'll
Yeah.
see play in the future is Kurikara. That's the only other
Oh
staple.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's the only other
And
staple
what's
hand
funny
trap.
is like if you, as long as you pick them up while they're cheap, you won't have to deal with them going up to like $15 later.
Yep. And like even then, right? Like there are other like staple cards, right?
Yeah,
That are
yeah.
not hand traps, right? That are like
Yeah,
super
yeah.
cheap.
Call by the Grave,
Uh,
Panker Tops,
yeah, Call by the Grave, Cosmic Cyclone,
Panker Tops.
Pankrataps, Borderlord Savage Dragon, Baron is cheap now.
Yeah, yeah.
Dingirsu, which is just a good rank 8. I'm trying to think what else. Garura's
Wait,
like 10
hold
to
on one
15,
second.
but you only get
Yeah.
$1. You only need one copy of
Okay.
that.
Yeah, sorry about that. I
Yeah,
just
you're
got
good.
a call for dinner soon, so.
You're good.
But yeah, I get what you mean. Like,
In
yeah,
terms
like
of like
cards
generic
have
staple
just been
cards,
better. Yeah, yeah.
Bonfire and Thrust are the only like, and Bonfire is not even really a generic staple card. It's a staple
Yeah,
card
yeah.
for a certain
Fire.
super type. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah,
And eventually we'll get it like a lot cheaper.
yeah.
But
I think in
like
terms of like the generic price point of Yu-Gi-Oh, it has been trending in the right direction, especially after the Rarity
mhm,
Collection. And
yeah.
Rarity
The
Collection 2 will only do more for the game.
Yeah.
But
Like
I
the only real issue
yeah.
like we're ever gonna have is like when because like right now we're kind of like reversing now where like the hand traps stop being expensive, but what's being expensive now is the
The main
like
decks, yeah.
the yeah
Or the
the main
archetypes,
like
yeah.
whatever's the new like the newest hottest archetype out, right? So I think like it's just one of those things. Like I think Snake Eyes, the Snake Eyes engine is an abnormality price wise. Like I don't think this will last very long.
Yeah, I don't either.
Hmm. But I do think next format though we're gonna have one thing I will say that Yu-Gi-Oh is like doing very poorly. We've had way too many tier zero formats back to back,
Hmm. Yeah, we
right?
had
Because we go from tier zero to a good format back to tier zero again, and I think that's an while tier zero formats can be good, they're not good if they last too long, and they're not good if there's too many of them back to back.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like see here was all right. So I didn't mind
Hmm.
tier 0 tier format, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't like it, but I didn't mind it. The reason I didn't
Hmm.
mind it was
Hmm.
it was a very known quantity, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you were either playing tier 0 tier elements, you were playing
Mhm.
flu, or you were just there to
Mhm.
have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's not exactly true. There were some people playing Exo Sister. There were some people playing what was it?
Mhm.
Medolce was
Yeah.
a deck that was being played up until like the
Mhm.
first wave of hits.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it was like a known quantity. You knew
Mm.
exactly what you needed to do. It was like fine to play against, right?
Mhm.
But this tier 0 Fire King format is just
Mhm.
not at all like tier 0
Yeah.
Telements.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
very
I
strange
think it.
how
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
tier 0 formats that existed almost a year
Mhm.
apart from each other can be
Mhm.
so drastically different.
Mhm. I think one of the main complaints about Fire King isn't even the Fire King like the Fire King deck being tier 0. The main complaint is like what's making like this format unfun is the fact that like it just comes down to who has the better hand traps like that you
Yeah.
drew out of your hand. Because like when it's the in-engine fighting against each other, that could be very fun.
Mhm.
But it's just not that right now because everyone's got like 30 hand traps. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a good talk. I'm gonna actually head to dinner, so
That sounds good. It is seven
yeah,
o'clock here, so I probably should. I've been
yeah,
streaming for another 2 hours, so I should
yeah.
probably hop
Do the
off. I think
same.
I'm gonna do a little bit more diggering, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Catch you later.
All right, catch you later.
Alright, so I have been live for a while. I should go check on my thingies over here. Yeah, my cactus grew, so I'm gonna go take care of all my plants really quickly so that if Ray or anyone else pops on and they're close enough to load this, which they probably won't be, but um, my crops will keep growing just a little bit. Alrighty. What does my roof look like? It's been 2 hours. I wonder if it's oxidized at all. Looking around, I don't see any. It's a little disappointing. I think it'd be nice and green by now, but it's not. Okay. Let's also go ahead and mine up all these crops. So it's gonna be wheat, potatoes, wheat, potato, or I guess we can do carrots, sure. Wheat, carrots, wheat, potatoes, and wheat. Why can you not compost poisonous potatoes? They're the least useful. I get that they're supposed to be useless. They're the least useless item. There's other useless items that have more value than poisonous potatoes. And I just feel like that's stupid. But what is not stupid is the fact that we almost have we have a little bit over a chest full of items from digging. Now, when we come down here and we take a look, right? We haven't done a lot. I mean, that's a decent amount. I'll admit it. That's a decent amount. We might even just stop there. But it's not a ton, right? We still have we've dug 4 blocks wide by not much is what I'm getting at. We haven't dug nearly enough. And I feel like digging like that, digging how I was, it feels faster, but I think it feels faster because I think the slowdown is walking back up to start digging down again. I feel like that's where I'm feeling a slowdown. Also, I think it'd be faster if I did have fancy schmancy diamond tools. This would be going much faster. But I don't really want to bother with getting diamond tools right now. It takes a lot of time and cows and sugarcane to get diamond tools. Really quickly, I'm going to do this. This is 4, so I need to take down 20 blocks. Let's dig out one more layer, just because. there we go. He broke that pickaxe. So let's just quickly run inside. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Well, I mean, we got decent amount of stone, decent amount of dirt. So you know, all things considered, I think it's a pretty valuable little endeavor. There's one thing I'm gonna do very quickly. Grab out some mossy cobble and some cobblestone, and we are gonna fill these in. So these are supposed to be our little pylons. So the concept is they are structural support. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Shit. Get away from me, you dickheads. Okay, we might need to be a little careful here. I don't have any arrows. Okay. No arrows. Okay. Over here, maybe? Arrows, okay. I have a super nice, strong bow. Because... Of course I do. Okay, there we go. So it just gives a little bit of structural support, like visually, to the build, which I think is nice. It makes it look like there's something actually supporting the these columns, and they're not just there, kind of floating. Or they're like there's something more to them than just the actual pillars of wood in the water. So I wish this was oxidized more. I mean, I know it takes a long time when it's like this, but I just wish it was a little bit further along. That's all. Okay, so chat. Let's go ahead and do some fishing. Let's see. It's 7:18 where I'm at, so I'll give it 12 minutes. 12 minutes of fishing. Ah. Turn on sticky keys. I wonder if you guys heard that. Alright, and mending fishing rod. I'm going to fish up a mending rod. Right now. Oh, salmon. Alright, mending fishing rod. It'd be really nice if you could transfer enchantments. Because then you could transfer mending from a fishing rod to mending on like a book or something. Can't do that, unfortunately. But you can at least grindstone. Oh, it's a bowl. You can at least grindstone the items that you fish up. That way, like if you fish up like a crappy like Curse of Vanishing book, you get something from it. I was a little eager on that one. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful of that. Is that a name tag? No, must have been a cod. Oh, there's a tropical fish. I remember when those used to be rare. Shit. I freaked out. I wasn't paying attention. Alright, mending fishing rod. Oh, salmon. That's cod too. The cod really look like name tags from certain angles. Alright. God, today's gone by really quickly. Pufferfish, lame. It's so lame, in fact. Get the heck out of here. You can also get rid of this.
Ugh. Tripwire hook. No, it's raining. That. Alrighty, last one.
Oh, we did get a name tag. Okay, that's kind of cool. We just got a name tag, but our fishing rod's almost broken. So we are going to pop in our little manor here and toss in some of these little thingamabobbers. We can honestly throw those out. Okay. That is everything. I don't know what we're gonna do with this upstairs floor, but I just wanted a little balcony. Sit out and see. Yeah, none of the copper seems to be oxidizing yet, which is kind of unfortunate. Did those grow at all? Okay, they did. I'm going to go break and replace those very quickly. I know I literally said we're gonna log out, but just one more thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Oh, really? Those don't break cactus. Alright, we're gonna call it there. So, another 2 hours of streaming, but doesn't look like anyone popped in the chat. That's okay though. Alright, if anyone's watching the VOD,